It's time to learn, repair, and maintain everything coffee. Instructional videos brought to you by WholeLatteLove.com.
Hi, I'm Todd from Whole Latte Love. Today we're going to talk about what happens if you have a brand new machine or maybe even an older machine and you have a puddle of water on the counter and the machine keeps on running. The pump keeps running and pumping water out and you're like, what's going on? Well, it could be that the water level sensor in the heat exchanger boiler is either disconnected or maybe it's really, really dirty. Most likely something happens disconnected. If it was just dirty, you would have noticed low steam pressure or something else happening over time. So here's what you can do to check that out, okay? We're going to go inside the machine and see if that wire from the temperatures or the water probe is disconnected. Move these two Phillips head screws on the right-hand side.
This tends to happen maybe on a brand new machine sometimes?
Yeah, if the wire gets pulled off somehow. All the machines are tested and are put back together, and if something happens in shipping, it's pretty rare, but it could happen. And pull off these two. Now any of the Expobar Office machines, whether it's a lever or a Brutus, the panel comes off the same way, or the housing I should say. If you have a rotary pump machine, you also have a screw up here. But this is a vibration pump, you don't have that. And that would have a top that comes off there. And one back screw in the back here. And then we'll take off our reservoir, which will empty before it has a chance to tip over and flood the counter. That's always fun. 3mm Allen wrench. You pull off these two screws right here. One. I'm going to try and go through this pretty fast. I know this is not that exciting. Okay. And we have two screws up top here. I'm going to mention it later, but if I forget to, I want to say it now. When you're putting these screws back in, you have to be very careful not to cross-thread them. If you're using a drill, I'd recommend using just a screwdriver. Cross-threading is bad. Okay, we'll take that out. Now, the wire we're talking about is this one right here. This one happens to have a yellow piece of plastic over the connector. Some other machines, other brands may be different. And if you trace this wire back, it goes down to the control board, the Jacaro control board. And in this case, it just happens to be this wire here. One of the ways you can tell is if you look at the control board and you see this rectangular box right here, that shows that it's a water sensor. Sometimes it may say Lavello on it. This one doesn't happen to do it. LIV, it's okay. That one right there. So make sure that wire is connected and it's connected up here. Everything's fine. Usually, and if it is acting up, and this is the problem, let's say the wire is disconnected, the pump will be on and water will be squirting out all over this right here. If that happens, you're going to want to obviously turn the machine off, and after you reconnect the wires, and then make sure everything's dry. Maybe let it sit on for a day, maybe even a hair dryer to dry some of this off. It really shouldn't damage anything, but it'd be good to just make sure it's dry. And then put the machine back together. I won't do the whole process, but when you set this on here, you have this plate here that holds the reservoir. That goes in there like that, down like this. And while we're in here, just for the fun of it, this switch here is how it senses where there's a water in the reservoir by the weight. Get a little click. Just a little fun fact. These two tubes, there's two tubes here. One goes to the pump, or goes, to the pump. The other comes back from the OPV and deaerator. Run them up through here, and then make sure that you have a little bit of slack inside there, like that. Okay? And when you put the housing on, just be careful. These don't get pinched in here. It's pretty easy to have that happen. So just put on carefully, and just put all your screws in. Again, don't cross-thread them. Use a screwdriver instead of a drill. So that is if you get a puddle of water on the counter and you want to check to see if it's a water level sensor on your Expobar machine or really any other machine that has a heat exchanger boiler with a water probe in it.
Hey, why not subscribe now for easy free access to more videos on everything coffee brought to you by WholeLatteLove.com.